So I wanted to come and talk about something that really helped me in the beginning of my spiritual awakening, as far as an activity, I guess you can say, or just a visual that helped me progress and keep moving forward through this journey. So just a little bit backstory. So I started this spiritual awakening. I would have to say it officially started in 2020. Unknowingly and knowingly, it started back in October of 2021. So through that process, I went through multiple things, and you can hear that whole story through a previous video that I posted. But so December 16th is when everything like woke up. So that night before, I had been I can't remember what happened. I think I went out, or I went somewhere, or something happened to where I wasn't at home, and then I had my friend over at the time, and we were just talking, and he was just kind of like going through some things, and I was going through some things, and I had come to a point to where I was just like confused about everything. And he had made a really good point to where he's told me, and it opened everything up. He was like, you can't lie to God. You can't lie to God. God knows everything that's in you. So like, you can't, even if it's something that's inside of you, you can't not think that he knows about it and trick God, was his words. So that like really opened up my eyes, and I went to sleep that night just confused. And when I woke up the next morning, December 16th, I was even more confused. Like it was literally like the day before I was here, and then the next day I woke up, I had zero memory of anything that happened in my life previous, like from childhood, like everything. And so I woke up and I kept on saying to myself, oh, I don't know. I don't know anything. What do I know? Like, I don't know anything, because I literally couldn't think of anything that, like, I couldn't think of anything that I knew. Like, it was like my mind was just blank. And like everything that was downloading into my brain that I had previously known and was familiar with was like gone. And so I continued to ask myself, like, I don't know anything. And then I asked myself, I was like, well, then what do I know? Like, what do I know is real? Like, what do I remember? And so on my phone, like for the past few years, I think since I upgraded to an iPhone, it'll have my Google Photos from when I had an Android. And so every morning it will pop up with photos and memories of things from the past. And so that morning, usually every morning it does it. And in the morning times, I usually ignore it, because I'm like, I don't want to click on those pictures and go back down memory lane, because I really don't care. Like, I'm here currently, I don't care. So that morning, the pictures that had loaded up on that, and I had got the notification, and it popped up these Buddha head pictures that I had started taking. So I just kind of had gotten into like photography and like just taking pictures. So I was practicing taking pictures of this Buddha head. And so those popped up, and I clicked on them, and I was like, oh, these are nice pictures. Like, I was proud of myself. I was impressed, because I was like progressing in photography. And so I had a thought to myself. I was like, like when I look at these Buddha pictures, it literally brings up memories and feelings from a moment when I took those pictures. So I was like, well, what if I went back in my pictures in my phone, and I kind of like went back and remembered things? And so I was like, ugh, I was off that day. So I was just like, I guess I'll give it a try. So I literally picked up my phone and started going through pictures, just like the pictures through my past and previous. And I was like, okay, this is cool. But it was just all like unorganized. Like, I couldn't get anything, nothing came into perspective for me. And so I was just like, okay, so maybe I need to slow down, and let's start with a specific year. So I went back to the beginning of 2021, which was what I felt like was a really good year for me. And so I went back to January, and I started looking at those pictures, and I was like, oh, okay, so pictures really do tell a story. And so I started remembering like those moments and those feelings. And I was like, okay, well, what if I just got my laptop out and started like writing? So that's what I did. And I literally went from January 1st to December 2021 and like wrote down everything that happened. And it brought back so many memories and so many emotions that it kind of took me down memory lane, but it took me to a place to where I could remember and understand like more of my journey and the things that I've gone through and the feelings that I felt and in the awakening that was happening for me at that time and still is happening. So I kind of want to just share like how that happened. So literally, so like if you go on your phone, I'm gonna use my tablet. Let me go out of this. So if you go on your phone and you go to your photos, so like in your photos, you can kind of, just decipher them from like year, month, days, all photos. So what I went to year, and then I had went to 2021. So I started with 2021, and then I literally started from like January 1, what's my first picture in 2021. Yeah, it don't went to 2020. 2021. So my first pictures from 2021 were when I went to Puerto Rico for my sister's birthday. So I literally went and I went through each photo. And some photos will have multiple days where you had like multiple photos and it'll take you through multiple memories. But like I said, it really helped out a lot for me to dissect what happened. And like I said, how I felt during that time, because that really progressed me to understand how I've been the person that I've been, and understand the things that I needed to change, and understand what I needed to do to be a better Tamara. And so I'll just kind of share just the beginning part so you can kind of get a understanding of how to start. And everybody's story is going to be different. Everybody's beginning is going to be different. It just happened in 2021. I didn't take that many photos at all like I normally do. So some of y'all might have a lot of pictures. Every photo is not going to need a description, but just ones that you're really, really drawn to understand, kind of what happened, or just drawn to a good memory. You don't have to be a bad memory. It can be a good memory. So how I started mine was, and it's titled What I Do Know, and it's titled The Pictures Told My Story. So I said December 16, 2021, I woke up in disbelief because I had the feeling that my life as I had known it before this day was what appeared to be over with. It felt like I didn't know anything from my past and where I had come from. I felt like I was dead and nothing made sense. I eagerly searched in my thoughts, trying to find the answers to the questions: what happened and how did I get there? I kept telling myself, I don't know anything anymore. I repeated this over and over and over again, to the point to where I became irritated with myself and by telling myself those words. Then I consciously chose to go to the next thought, which was, what do I know? After repeating that in my head over and over again, LOL, I looked at my phone. On my iPhone, I get daily memories or suggested photos to look at from my past. Most mornings I ignore it because I don't feel like going back down memory lane, but this morning I was drawn to it because the previous day I had taken pictures of the Buddha head that I had sitting on the shelf in my living room. So I kind of already went through that. Let me kind of go down to here when it started. Okay. So this is when I started January 1. So on January 1, 2021, I remember waking up and dreading that day. It was the first birthday that I would not be able to celebrate with my father. My father passed in 2020, and it was the most devastating and the most liberating thing I could have ever experienced. Throughout 2020, I went through a major depression that I tried to mask with everything I knew how to. I remember feeling that I don't want anyone seeing me as a victim and someone to feel sorry for me. So I decided to shut myself off and try and figure out how to get through this depression and grieving my father. On January 1, 2021, I can remember the feeling of sadness, anxiety, because it was the first birthday I could not call my dad and tell him happy birthday and tell him that I love him. At this time, I was only letting a few people in to experience my vulnerability. So here we go. Throughout that month, I went to several outings, took care of my businesses, and hung with family. I traveled to Puerto Rico for my sister's birthday and had a great time. I was in a good space with the person I was dating. I was not working at the time because in 2020, I decided to make the decision for myself and leave my job due to many issues with the management and so forth and so on. I was doing work on the side and had money put away, so things were good financially, yada, yada, yada. So that's just kind of a rundown of how you can go through your pictures and kind of decipher and tell your story. Like, sometimes we just get to a point to where we just move so fast through life and we just forget about moments and times, happy moments, and even sad times that may lead to happy moments. So I really, really, really encourage you to take those steps to really awaken and to really bring back. So I will say one tip, because when I did 2021, I started spiraling. I went down a rabbit hole and started going, through a couple of more years. I wouldn't suggest that. I would really pick a year, like when you go back and you think about maybe within the last 5 years, or you can go back however you want to do it. But I would pick a year where you really don't remember what happened, or maybe it was a year that was very traumatizing, or something very significant happened in that year. Whether it was good or whether you consider it good or bad, just pick a year and go down and figure it out and understand who you are, because that really helped me understand who you are. Like I said, a great tip is not to go through every year in your life, because like I said, you're just trying to get a start to understanding who you are. That's the main thing, and that's what that activity did for me. It really, really put into perspective about who I am and who I really want to become. So I encourage you to do it. If you have any questions, leave comments. You can reach out. I'm more than willing to explain more, go into more depth about the process. But other than that, I love y'all. Be nice and be kind to yourselves. Be easy to yourselves. It's not a marathon. It's not a race. It's a marathon. So take your time and be nice to yourself, because the more time you take and the more patience you have with yourself, the better outcome you'll have when it comes to really coming into yourself and knowing who you are. So I love you.